Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Jeff Spiegel, US Head of iShares Megatrend International and Sector ETFs at BlackRock, and he's here to discuss a newly launched ETF, IVEG. Jeff, it's great to see you as always. Welcome to Trade Talks. Tell us about this ETF that we are discussing today.
Thanks for having me, Jill. Absolute pleasure. And I will tell you about the ETF. Maybe let me give you a little bit of context just to kick off here, which is to say we actually just released a paper called The Great Acceleration, where we were digging into areas we don't think investors are appreciating the true magnitude of exponential progress available before them. And three areas in particular that we highlighted: an industrial renaissance, combating supply chain disruptions, wage inflation, labor shortages with areas like robotics and automation. Medical breakthroughs, we're really focused on mRNA vaccines against COVID, transitioning to a range of other areas from HIV to influenza. And then to bring us into this conversation, the rise of the new consumer. Emerging market consumers who now make up more than 50% of spending around the world, as well as millennials who are really entering their peak spending years. And one of the habits and behaviors we see from this group is to purchase much more sustainable options. So in launching IVEG, this is exactly the opportunity we're looking to track. IVEG is on the Morningstar Global Food Innovation Index. It's listed on the Nasdaq, and it has 40 holdings across agricultural technologies, alternative proteins, sustainable food production and processing, as well as nutritional innovation and safety. So you can really think of this as the holistic value chain for the future of food.
Can you provide a little more detail around the fund?
So the strategy is really designed for investors who want to capture the rise of emerging food and ag tech writ large in their portfolios and be prepared for all the ways that we think this market will evolve over time. One of the really important things about the construction of the fund in achieving that is actually that it employs a modified market cap weight approach. So no companies are going to be really dominant in this overall benchmark, but rather you're going to get the broad set of these 40 holdings so that if this theme as a whole succeeds, as we believe it will, as we wrote about in this paper, the strategy should grow over time regardless of the fortunes of any one particular company or any one aspect of that value chain that I was talking about. So you're really getting diversified exposure to innovation in this space.
Where can investors find out more about IVEG?
So investors can find out more about IVEG at iShares.com/megatrends. I would encourage people to take a look at the paper we wrote on exactly this subject. And you'll find some of the amazing stats that really support this space, from the rise of global food production that's failing to meet the needs of 811 million people, and how we think that alternative proteins can help, to the fact that increasingly we're finding lab-grown meats, steaks in particular, can actually taste just as good as the real thing. So learn more at iShares.com/megatrends.
All right, Jeff, I look forward to checking out that white paper. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thanks for having me, Jill.